Now, not to say achieving goals and achieving self-actualization doesn't matter. Not saying that the fun pastime of bowling or archery doesn't have a place for that on the planet. But I would argue that education, the purpose of education in the world of business, is to teach you these specific things called practical skills. Because that's where the money is. And very few business owners have the practical skills they need on a daily basis to get things done, and very few companies have employees that have the practical skills. And that's what's really limiting America's growth, is that like in a city like Tulsa, Oklahoma, you have all these companies that want to grow and very few web developers. You have very few guys who understand really marketing. They have marketing degrees, but they don't understand how to market. So at the end of the day, it all goes back to the practical skills which allow you to actually get things done.
Okay, good. I love that. Let's jump on in here.
Bam.
Okay, we've got two principles that we're talking about in this episode.
Okay.
The first one is that customers pay for results.
True that.
Okay, customers pay for results. We're going to talk about how that applies to this topic. And the second one is the world keeps moving and we must keep learning.
Yep.
Okay, so the first principle, the customers pay for results. I got a little notable quotable here. Okay, now this I'm gonna first read this notable quotable, have you unpack it and tell us why we should be listening to this person. Okay. When you look at people who don't go to school and make their way in the world, those are exceptional human beings. And we should do everything we can to find those people. If you take somebody who has a high cognitive ability, is innately curious, willing to learn, and has emergent leadership skills, and you hire them as an HR person or finance person, and they have no content knowledge, and you compare them with someone who's been doing just one thing and is a world expert, the expert will go, I've seen this 100 times before. Now this is from Laszlo Bock. Why should we be listening to this person? What's his role and what is he talking about with this notable quotable?
Well, this particular person is the guy who's basically head of hiring people at Google.
Okay.
So I think his actual title is Vice President of People Operations. But he basically makes sure that the people who work at Google are doing their job efficiently and that he finds the right people to do those jobs.
Okay, so with this notable quotable, what's he telling us and what can we take from this as a thriver watching this right now? What does this apply?
It sounds like he has a bias for people who know entrepreneurial skills, but what he's saying is at Google, if they hire a guy, let's just say that there's a guy out there who started a home building company. Well, if you're going to start a company that builds homes, to get over here and to actually get paid, you're going to, along the way, first you just have this ability to design homes, and maybe that's something you're passionate about. But what happens is that over time, you start to go, okay, I want to build homes, but to build homes, I'm going to have to learn how to deal with the city. I'm going to have to learn how to get permits.
Yeah.
Then your next roadblock is, well, how am I going to get any customers? You got to learn marketing.
Okay.
And then you might have to deal with contractors. So now you have to deal with negotiation.
Right.
You might have to learn management down here. You might have to learn, I would say you definitely are going to have to learn sales.
Right.
You have to learn PR. So by the time that you become an expert, by the time you learn enough about how to actually get things done, and by the time you learn how to generate results, by the time you go from the theory to the application, you've picked up the practical skill of working with the government, marketing, negotiation, management, sales. But the problem is if you'd spent your entire career working for the guy who owned the home building business, all you would have is an expertise in this area.
Sure.
But you wouldn't know how to get from here to here because this requires emotional fortitude, it requires tenacity, it requires the ability to self-teach yourself. It requires so many things to go from the idea of starting a business to actually applying it. But again, if you just worked in this silo, this specific area of marketing, you'd only have marketing skills. You wouldn't have all the practical skills that you need to truly get from point A to point B.
So why are these practical skills, I guess, how do they play into this principle of the customer, rules, I guess? The customer's always right. The customer decides. He votes with his dollar. How does that match up with, this practical knowledge?
Okay. Well, years ago, I hired an attorney, about a decade ago, who practiced the dark art of jackassery.
Oh, wow.
He'd had a degree, jackassery.
Wow.
He had a degree. He had studied law. He knew about the legal system. And I said, hey, I want to make a contract. I want to make a contract that is basically going to be an agreement between me, this is me, and this dude.
Here.
This is this dude right here. We're going to make an agreement. All I want you to do is to make an LLC. And to do that, I need this thing called an operating agreement. Can you make that?
Right.
Well, this guy, and I'm not exaggerating, he spent something like 15 hours marinating with all the possibilities, all of the issues, all of the... So at the end of the day, I'm getting a bill for like $5,000.
Oh, nice.
And it's not even right. It's $5,000. It's not even right. It's he's charging me $5,000, and we still don't even have an idea of what we're talking about.
How did that make you feel?
I was upset.
Oh, okay.
Now, same guy switched. So I said, I'm done with this guy. This is a $5,000 solution. This is not a good deal. So I switched to another guy. The other guy comes in, and he has this thing called a checklist.
Oh, wow.
He has a very practical system. He goes, I'm going to need you to fill out this question, this question, this question, this question. We sit down, we go over the questions, and he says, okay, and now that we have that, I'll go ahead and write up your document. And he had built a kind of a template. He puts in the document, the different nuances that we had, and literally, we had in 1.5 hours, we had everything on the operating agreement we needed,
Right.
and we ended up paying like $400, right? And I paid, now hourly, I paid a ton of money over here, and I would never go back. But this guy, he got the job done.
So you kept working with this guy, probably.
Right. So as a customer, I paid for results. I don't care about, and this guy had so much head knowledge, top of his class, knew every possible legal. He was going, well, in the advent of maybe you're incapacitated, but you're not actually dead.
Wow.
What would happen then? And you answer it, and that's a good question. And he says, now what if you're dead? What if you're dead, but then you're estranged? Maybe you get divorced before that, and your wife died. And he has all these. Then we're going. These are great questions, but at no point could he distill all those questions into an actual plan.
Okay, so that's where the practical knowledge.
And
really
the world
needs-
will pay more for that.